go. This one, we're going to start with, where is it? Up there. Oh, it's harder than the outside. Develop, implement, and evaluate a CA plan. Let's start with that.
And let's get it right this time. We're going to get the intro first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, we've done quite a lot of this today, so we'd like to. So if you could just start by introducing yourself, what your role is, and which headspace you come from.
Cool. And looking at you. Cool. My name's Jess Westfold. I come from Headspace Collingwood, and I'm working community engagement and on the access team as well.
Fantastic. Awesome. So jumping into the questions, from a Headspace perspective, what is community awareness?
I suppose coming from a centre's perspective, community awareness is about building relationships with organisations and schools in the community, developing people's understanding of mental health, so increasing mental health literacy in the community, increasing the ability for young people to know where to go to seek help and to access mental health support, to become aware that Headspace exists and the different services that they can access at Headspace. As well as maybe even develop some of their own resilience, so looking at, mental health skills also.
Awesome. That was a
concise.
super answer.
Okay.
I love it.
I think you're going to use that one.
So when you're looking to find out about your community's profile, where do you go to find that information, or who do you speak to?
We use the ABS website and the local council website, which comes from Australian Bureau of Statistics as well.
I'm just going to get you to, can you answer with the question as well?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so when we look into, so about the community's profile, how do you find it?
Cool. In order to find out about the profile of our local community, we look at the Australian Bureau of Statistics website, as well as local council websites that use that and sort of break down those numbers a little bit more and in a bit more detail. And we also do a bit of an audit of the services that are already in the area in order to work out what's already in existence and what then needs to be more of.
Awesome. Okay, so now thinking a bit more about your community awareness plan. So how do you determine what your key objectives are going to be in the community awareness plan?
In making the community awareness plan, we're thinking about what the aims of the general work plan of the centre is. So drawing from that, the work plan that I think most centres have, and looking at what kind of areas we're wanting to reach more. So recently we've wanted to reach more Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people, and so that was an emphasis of the community engagement that we're doing as well. The other thing we do is use that data, so who's in the community, who we're seeing, we sort of look at that alongside our centre data. So we go and look at the happy results, see what kind of young people we're seeing in the centre and where the gaps are and who we're not reaching, to sort of make a little bit of a plan of how we can do that if it's appropriate to do that.
Awesome. You're even happy now,
yeah.
Erin. That was awesome.
Oh, good.
I didn't even have to ask you. That's super. Are you happy with that? Yeah.
Let me know if you want me to just add any more details that I'm missing and you just want in there.
You're
Yeah.
so concise.
We will do. I will.
Oh, I'm
I'll
nervous.
tell you.
I'm a bit tongue-tied.
That's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so again, thinking about the community awareness plan, what's...
Oh, I missed youth participation as well. Yeah.
Okay, well...
Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Add that. The other thing we do is work with our youth YAC. I don't call them anything else other than YAC, our Youth Advisory Committee.
So just start again.
Yeah. The other thing we do in developing our community awareness plan is to work with our Youth Advisory Committee to look at what they think is important for us to be focusing on and get their input as much as possible in that process as well. And they do a lot of community engagement activities themselves, so that they're always a part of that process.
Cool. Okay. So you've just touched on that a little bit, but what does consultation actually look like for you when you create your 12-month community awareness plan, and how do you engage young people for their input?
I suppose the main way that we engage young people and use youth participation with making the community awareness plan is through our YAC, who are really active and really keen to sort of get involved with that sort of stuff. So that would mean getting into one of the meetings, going through the work plans, what the centre sort of objectives are, and then looking at the data with the YAC and seeing what they think that we should be doing and what the best ways of doing some of those things and reaching some of those young people are. Other things we've done in the past would be we've had like, we've put, what are they called? Like a survey on Facebook. Sorry.
Anyway, there's road noise anyway. So.
Okay, cool.
Hang on, just what is it? Still got it? Sorry, the conditions were working.
Yeah. So we work with the YAC in meetings, and then if there are any specific projects within developing that plan, we can have working groups as well, where there's a smaller number of youth, young people from our YAC, sort of making a bit more of a detailed investigation or plan in some way. Other things we've done to engage with young people in developing the community engagement plan is put surveys on Facebook. So do you think we should be doing more of this or more of that? And we've done that in the reception room as well. So having just a bit of a survey so that we're reaching a lot of our young people who come to the centre but aren't in our youth advisory committee also.
Great. And still on the community awareness plan, how do you evaluate that?
So at the end of each community awareness sort of period, so yearly, we do it in the financial year just because of budgeting and that kind of thing. We have a look at everything that we hope to achieve, what our aims were, and I suppose we evaluate it in different ways. So if one of our aims was to get more of a certain group of young people in the doors, we might be looking at our happy data and finding out if we were successful in doing that. Or I suppose there's more sort of micro evaluation of each event, making sure we're evaluating all of our outreach in schools and that kind of thing, using evaluation forms and things like that. How else do we? And also I suppose having a bit of a reflective time with the YAC in sort of having a look at what we've done, what we've achieved. Do they think we've done a good job at doing that, and what we should sort of look at doing in the next financial year as well. So.
Cool. Jess?
We don't evaluate it very well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
That's a standard answer. Oh yeah, what are we doing?
I think we evaluate like activities quite well, but the whole year we kind of just go, oh, how did it go? Great. Yeah, not so well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't put that in, I guess.
But part of this and having like you speak to this is actually to acknowledge actually that some things are more difficult than others. Because from a national point of view, we're like, yes, we want everybody to evaluate.
Of course, yeah.
But in practice, it's not necessarily as easy as just say, oh yes, we evaluate it.
And how else to evaluate? Like how to evaluate? We do so much in a year. So how do you evaluate the entirety of it in kind of a productive way?
What is the trickiest part of evaluation?
Yeah, I'm very into it as well. Don't worry.
What's the challenging part? Is it getting people to get the data, getting responses, or is it more about?
Well, again, it's not hard evaluating each event, I don't think. So we'll always evaluate each event and go, okay, that worked well, that didn't work. That's sort of easy. I suppose it's more like if you're thinking about the year, evaluating everything. We do a lot of kind of different community engagement stuff. So I suppose, and finding the time to do a thorough, looking at the big picture for a minute, can be challenging because we're very busy.
So do you use Tableau again with that and say at the end of the year, say how these were our target groups and then? Yeah,
so for the stuff when we want to get more young people in of a certain demographic, then that's definitely the way that we evaluate it. Are we seeing them? Yes, no, slowly, yes. So that's quite easy. It's more of that are we increasing mental health literacy overall? That's kind of challenging sometimes.
Hard to measure that, huh?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just going to survey everybody in the whole community. Do you know more? Well,
yeah.
I do now. Could you just ask me that? Great. terms of building community awareness or awareness of headspace, mental health, and all of that stuff in the community, what particular resources have you found to be useful, either headspace resources or external ones?
I think in terms of using resources in the community to increase mental health awareness, the Headspace fact sheets are actually really amazing, because it can be that you might go along and do a workshop or do a presentation or something like that, and it gives young people something to sort of come back to and to sort of find out more and to sort of take their time to look through. And it gives teachers or other staff like some confidence in talking about some of those topics as well. If they've got this thing to go, oh hey, actually, you know, you're having a hard time, here's a Headspace service and this is some of the stuff they offer, or oh, it sounds like you're really sad all the time, here's a thing on depression or whatever it is. So I think fact sheets for me are really, really fantastic. Also leaving posters and things like that, so they're around schools and that kind of thing, can be really good in just getting people used to the idea of Headspace, you know, knowing that the name is there and that having someone come out who's friendly can be really helpful as well. Other resources that are helpful in building mental health awareness, not sure. I make a lot of my own stuff. So, or like, yeah, use, you know, things that are a little bit strange. For example, one of my favourite workshops to do is on the stress vulnerability model.
I like where this is going,
Yes,
so
Stop.
I want to get it, yeah.
Okay.
Hang on just because of the laughing. Yeah, okay.
Some of the resources that I use are, I guess, a little less conventional. For example, I do a workshop looking at the stress vulnerability model, and I bring in a bucket and lots of balls that you can throw into the bucket. Give everyone some balls and get them to throw in their stresses, whatever they might be, homework, teachers, family, that kind of thing. And it's a really nice model of how stress can build up and, you know, result in, you know, feeling really terrible. When the bucket's full, then, you know, I get a little bit dramatic and all the balls start falling out of the bucket and that kind of thing. And I think it can work to sort of decrease the stigma associated with mental health problems, because it's something that we all experience stress, and sometimes the stresses can just get a bit much, and they're the times when maybe you need to get a little bit of extra support, as well as putting a bit of an emphasis on self-care as well, and emptying that bucket and having a bit of awareness around where you're at. So I suppose I use a range of resources, and some of them are a bit strange.
That's such a cool example, I liked it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome. That's all of the questions for that module.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Smashed it.
Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on around
Yeah.
the community awareness plan that doesn't necessarily
I
fit?
think resource-wise, I think in terms of having resources to decrease or to increase mental health awareness, other resources that I think are really helpful to bring out to the community when talking about mental health is other local organisations. So the stuff that maybe we don't do or that other organisations do in a different way, making sure that young people know that we're not the only organisation. So it might be your local council, like for us, Yarra Youth Services run a whole heap of like social groups and that kind of thing, which can be really helpful for young people as well. So I suppose just knowing your local community, all the organisations in the local community, and what else it might be good for young people to be aware of that exists.
Awesome. Great.
Cool.
All right, so that is how you develop and evaluate a community awareness plan.
Anything you want me to add, Richard? No?
Can you just say, hi, my name's Richard Hunt, Headspace National, and then do the introduction and the